Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OK Show Thursday TBT. Let's go back in time. Anything from 2000 to 2010, we're talking about whatever, as long as it's from 2000 to 2010. Right.
Alrighty.
It's a
Well, okay,
Thursday, so
that's
it's throwback.
I got it. I'm just saying, like, when you talk about whatever, we're always talking about whatever, right? It's just that we just it's just that if it's not a Thursday, if it's not a Thursday, there's no limit, right? But we
Excuses,
kind of have to
excuses.
we have to
Right.
encapsulate
That's what I
this.
do. Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
they know
Thursday,
who they're dealing
throwback.
with. Yeah, they know who they're dealing with.
Lazy
They're dealing
people.
with the clickbaiters. Okay, so this is live, right? This is not one of our recorded episodes.
Not recorded.
Well, it
This is
is
a live
recorded, but it's
episode.
okay. All right, all
Well,
right. We
it's
owe it
being
to the
recorded
people.
and it's live.
Yeah. So you know what? My AirPods. I'm having problems with the AirPods. Like it's only the right one that's kind of working. So, but I hear you fine. So it's all good. I mean, it's just to monitor you anyway. It's not to monitor me. But I don't know what's up. I don't know if the other one. I don't know what's up with AirPods. Like maybe because I got them cheap or what. But the other one's like 50% charge, and the other one's like 90%. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I can't hear a thing on the other side, so I don't know if it's a setting thing or I didn't sync it
Why
right
is
or the
that? You
wife. Like,
didn't charge them at the same time? Is that what it
no, no,
is?
no,
Or you were just using
I
the
don't.
other AirPod?
No. They're always charged at the same time. Once they're in here, they're always charged, and the thing still has like 90%. So if you're gonna put the AirPods in, it should charge them, and it should charge them evenly. But the wifey uses these too when she does her early morning workout. So I don't know what happened. And, that's the thing. So I'm gonna have to try to figure this out because this happened last time when we did the show. I mean, I was also having problems like the other one I can hear and the other side I can hear.
Well,
And
did
it
she
kind of
use it
bothers me, man.
that day in the morning
She
when we
uses
had
she
the
uses it
show?
every day. She uses it every day.
All right,
She uses it
so
every day.
maybe you should
So
ask her. Maybe she only uses one AirPod, right? One of the AirPods. So maybe that's
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why it's like that.
No, but
Or
they're both charged. It's just that the other one's 90%, the other one's 50. So it shouldn't matter though. It
no,
doesn't
not
matter as
evenly
long as it
charged,
has a
right?
charge. It should still
You should
work. But
return it
this other
then.
one,
Can you return it?
uh, no, I don't know.
Does it
It's
have
happened
Apple Care?
before. It's happened before. No. I
Is it
ordered
under
this like
warranty?
online. It's. I don't think it's under warranty. I ordered this online. I ordered this on sale. And it's just now that it's doing. It did it before. Then it came back. So it was fine. And then now it's kind of screwy again. But I'll figure this one out. But as long as I can hear you, it's all that matters. And I do hear you.
Mhm.
It's just that it feels weird. So now I kind of know how it feels like to be sort of like deaf in one ear. It does bother you, but it doesn't. I don't know if that's how vertigo is. Like you only hear on
Right.
one side. Is that how it is, or is that? Am I gonna get dizzy and start throwing up right now, or what's going on? I
No,
hope I don't.
I never had that with vertigo. I was just dizzy, but I don't I don't experience that. I can't hear from the other ear. Or no, it's
Oh, so it's
basically
not
just the
necessarily like a
dizziness.
hearing imbalance, right?
No,
It could
no,
be
but it has
another.
something to do with your
Okay,
ears, the balance. But I don't think it affects the hearing or anything like that. Although
got it,
sometimes
got it.
things can get blurry with your eyesight,
Uh
but
huh.
I never had that, like that blurry vision. I never had that. I just
Mm-hmm.
get dizzy, and I know when it's coming because I wouldn't be sleeping for days, and usually that's when it
Yeah,
starts to attack. I'd be like, "Ooh, you can feel that, like, ooh, that balance right there. Oh my god, anytime
yeah.
soon." All right, then vertigo hits.
Oh man, that sucks. I mean, at least you don't go through that anymore, right?
No, no. From time to time, I had it last year. There was one time that I went to the clinic. I still drove to the clinic because I felt like, oh my god, this is gonna get worse. So I went there and they laid me down, and it got worse. So I was so scared because I was with snow at that time, and my wife works really far, and the clinic
Yeah.
was already closing. So I'm like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna get home? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, fortunately, I was able to get up and I managed
Yeah.
and I got home
I
safely.
thought you were gonna say,
But that was
fortunately,
but that was
Snow was able. Fortunately, Snow was able to drive us home,
yeah yeah. Fortunately, yeah, Snow was able to drive the car. That would have been a crazier story, right? But
and
yeah,
it
I
cured
mean,
my vertigo. And it cured your vertigo,
it will cure my
but it
vertigo
gave you
for
heart.
crying out
But it gave
loud.
you heart attack. He gave you
Yeah.
hyper. Okay. Anyways, shout out to CJ. He's on board. We don't know who else is on board. We're always full of surprises. We don't normally do. We do Thursday episodes, but we don't do it live. We do like Saturday live. And we don't really do Monday. So if we're missing like on a day that we're supposed to do it, you best believe that we're gonna make up for it like on another day of the week. So today we're talking about throwback. Now for us, it's throwback. For a lot of you out there, you're probably not even born yet. I mean, we're talking about 2000, 2010. CJ was born 2005. My son was born 2011. Snow was probably born 2000 what 13, 14,
14, 14,
14. All right. So,
14.
A lot of the kids walking around now, a lot of the teenagers that you see, we're probably not even born 2000s. I mean, early 2000s. So, but for us, 2000s, that's not that far away when we say throwback. And that's why when we were at the radio
Feels like
station,
yesterday.
our it feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday. And those are some of the best years. I would have to say regarding our radio experience. It was during the 2000s, mid 2000s. That was like the heyday of our radio experience. So a lot of things took place. And a lot of things were also kind of like still in limbo. Like I don't know if the internet wasn't really like 100%. It's nowhere near how it is now. We didn't have fiber back then. Um, you know, I don't know.
Dial up.
When did di- when did dial up end and broadband start? Because I know we were when we were doing radio. I don't think we were doing dial up anymore, right? I mean, like we were
No,
doing like
no,
the
it
nightly
wasn't
show.
dial up anymore. It
That
wasn't
was
dial up,
broadband
but
already.
it wasn't optic fiber or fiber optics.
No, it wasn't.
It was
It
broadband,
wasn't. It
but it
was
wasn't
just
fiber optics.
there was
It was
DSL.
faster than
Remember
dial up.
DSL?
It was
So
DSL. I think it
DSL
was
came
DSL.
like
What does
yeah,
that
it
mean?
was
What does that
DSL.
stands for?
All right.
What does that stand for? DSL.
Oh, that I did not know. But that was
Day
the in
saving
between. That
slight.
was
Day saving slight.
delayed, slow, laggy.
Hmm.
Probably that's what it was.
Broadband.
But yeah, but we had the internet. We were able to like I think we had I don't know if we had YouTube already back then. We did like latter part we did. Because I mean I remember I would watch air checks before going on board. I would watch a lot of like Ryan Seacrest and stuff, and so we had internet already. But the 2000 that was quite a decade. Um, that was a decade I got married. That was a decade you got married. That was a decade a lot of us got married, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Within that decade, and then you know, we we discovered a lot of things. I mean, not just within ourselves, but within our surroundings. We got to travel a lot. I mean, a lot of us, got to travel and experience new things. I remember 2000 and 2010. I was going back and forth visiting my dad in Thailand. So I was really in Bangkok often. Like within that decade, I probably went to Bangkok maybe 5 times. And because my dad was there at the time, and then so that was like the thing for me. And for you it was Japan. I don't know if
Right.
it
When
was
did he retire? Your dad.
my dad retired 2000. When did he come home? I'm trying to figure out. Jeez, probably 2013. I don't know, 2012. I'm trying to recall when he retired. I don't really even remember, man. Because I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while. He did not he didn't get another. He did not want to be posted to another country. 'Cause I know he was posted last at Bangkok, and then he he's supposed to stay here for a couple of years. So he was an undersecretary at the DFA, and then he was doing a lot of traveling. And I think that's probably why he was like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't want to be traveling, because if he's here, they would send him to a lot of, like, conferences and whatever. But if he's like at a country where he's posted, he like stays there, and he just like, he's the boss there. So I guess for him, he didn't like all the traveling. I mean, you can say no. When you're at the DFA, your bosses are also there. The Secretary of Foreign Affairs is there, and if you have to represent him, you can't say no. But if he's like posted in Thailand or in Japan or in Germany or wherever, then he's there. That's it. He stays there for like 6 years, and he just waits for one of the bosses, I guess, to visit, and then that's when he just has to sort of entertain them and stuff. So I think he prefers to be posted rather than be here and playing the role of undersecretary to DFA. It's kind of like, maybe, I don't know how it is, but like for example with us, we like us here in Davao, we kind of like have our own thing going on. So when our bosses from Manila, they come over, we're kind of stressed out. They want to make sure that they want to make sure that we're working and we're doing something, and we tend to be busier than we normally are. But when they're not around, we're like fine. So it's kind of like us going to Manila, I guess, where these guys are uh, monitoring us and making us do what we're supposed to be doing. Not that we're slacking off here, but like we have our own system here already. We it's different, I guess. In the same way, it's kind of like similar. Where I don't know. For me, I'm that type of person. I'm like, if I want to be with a big company or something, I don't. I probably would rather be at one of the branches of that company rather than in the main office. Because in the main office, you're probably busier. You're probably getting paid more, but you're probably like a lot busier and like overseeing everything. Whereas like if you're one of the small, you kind of have more of an identity that you can stick with. It's easier to stick with. Have you ever been in that kind of situation, Ice?
No, no,
Where
no. I don't think I'm my personality is like that. That's why I was in sales. I was in, the pharmaceutical business, because that, like, you don't have your boss there. Your boss would come like once a month or maybe once in 2 months.
exactly,
It could be once in a
exactly,
quarter, and that's the only time that you're going to be
exactly,
working with. They're going to work with you. They're going to go with
exactly.
you, go to doctors, go to clinics, uh, go through your whole routine. But for the most part, they're not there. They're just going to look at your sales output. As long as your sales output's good, like, they don't care what you do. So I think that's what's good with sales. The beauty of it is, if you have a good sales output, I don't think they care so much, right?
Yeah,
They wouldn't be breathing down your neck, not unless,
they leave
oh,
you
you're
alone.
slacking out with your sales. It's your sales are down. Like, you need to pick the slack up. So I think
Yeah.
that's just it. But then they're not around the whole time. So I think that's why I prefer sales. Even now with my job, though I'm in schools, but basically I'm not employed by the schools. I am under a company that supplies English teachers to
Teachers.
public schools.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
basically, I'm under contract with um, a dispatch company, and my supervisors would come like 3 times a year to check on what we
Okay.
do. Though they would send us emails and ask us about what we do in school, and the
Mm-hmm.
schools would give them feedbacks. We have an evaluation or whatever, so that's kind of the thing, right? So that they more or less would know what we're doing there. If, like, I talk too
Mm-hmm.
much, like, oh, they would be like, oh, he talks too much about personal stuff, blah blah blah. And it's like, what? Who wrote this? Who the heck? Which school wrote this? I mean, it's like, so that's the thing, because you don't know, because it's anonymous.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
for the most part, my evaluation's like good, right? But there was that one comment right there that it was, it was highlighted, because it was about me. Um, yeah, well, it says there, I talked to, because I have like what do you call that? Like, a Japanese, not an English teacher, but they help us out. So they're like sort of a support. They're Japanese, but they spend time outside Japan, mostly in English speaking countries, so they can speak English well. So the thing is, like, there are times that during break time, and if we have a free period, we would be talking about stuff. For the most part, we'd be
Mm-hmm.
talking about um, school stuff, lesson plans. But
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes it goes, like, I mean, we like what we do. We have a topic, but we drift away, and that
Yeah,
happens
yeah,
too. But it's not like we were just like doing chismes the whole time. But then
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. There was that one comment that, oh, I know that he works hard, blah blah, but I'm just concerned that sometimes they're talking about like not related to school and stuff like that, like mostly personal stuff. So I was like, right. And you're like trying to figure out like which school is this? Though my supervisor was telling me like, no, it's not a big deal. Schools love what you do, blah 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 blah. But if you can just like keep it down low with these things and blah blah. But I'm like, I mean, it still stressed me out. I'm still trying to figure out because I have
yeah,
six schools. I'm like, which school is this? Well,
yeah,
yeah, well,
yeah,
they're all cool. They're all cool. But then even though that's like, like they were saying like, oh, it's a tiny bit that, it's not a big deal. But I mean, you're telling me about it, so it's a big deal. I mean, if it's not a
yeah,
big deal, we
yeah.
wouldn't be talking about this. But
But
since you're telling me, then
it's
it
an
is a
even
big
bigger
deal.
deal for us. It's an even bigger deal for us, I guess. Because as Filipinos, in our employment environment, it's not like a normal thing where people are just upfront about their criticisms or feedback about your performance and how you behave in the workplace. We're always like, if somebody says something, and it's not a praise or a compliment, we always like take it personally, or sometimes we get offended, or but like in the US it's very normal. That's why, like, here, whenever we have like meetings, and to iron things out, to make sure everything's well oiled and working as a system, like it's still not like most of the feedback, most of the criticisms or comments that we have about each other or wherever within the working place that we work with, it's usually it's usually shared within our just behind closed doors. It's usually like, okay, we'll talk about a certain coworker, but whenever there's a meeting and we're face to face with this person, we don't really, like, I won't say confront them about it, because it's not really confrontational and it's not even a big deal, but we end up like not bringing it up. I mean, even like the bosses here, they're hesitant. They can't even like, they can't say something because they feel like it might be taken the wrong way, and the employee might be offended and might instead rebel, or might instead be angry at the boss for saying something like that. It's not easy for us to take criticism or feedback, but actually, when you think about it, we do need that, and it's better that way. It's just hard to take when you're not used to it. But I guess if you live in other countries where people are more open about how they feel about your performance, and it's nothing personal, and it's more for like to help you out, and for us to sort of improve how we deal with things, then we get used to that. Then it's kind of like an easier pill to swallow. But I noticed that here, like whenever we have meetings, like if there's someone you work with, and like, let's say they make a mess, they're messy, and then you have your show after this DJ, and then you're gonna bring that up during the meeting. I mean, and if you do, and then like, the boss or the head of your product, or if your department, informs the DJ about it, like, hey, you should clean up after you, whatever, because this DJ is complaining about whatever, or and then you'll get something like, hey, why don't you just tell me that, personally? Why didn't you just, what I'm saying? So, like, I don't really know how that works. Like, should you, okay, if you have a concern about a co-employee, somebody you work with, should you tell them, like walk up to them and tell them about it just between the two of you, or should you share it during a production meeting, or during a whatever, a company meeting, or in front of everybody else?
Well, I
I
don't know.
mean,
I
when they
I don't.
say
I mean, personally, I don't think you should be making any mess. I mean, if
yeah,
I'm working,
exactly, exactly,
I should see to it that I'm
exactly,
not making any mess because it's a workplace. It's
exactly,
not your house.
exactly, but
If it's your house, you can mess it
exactly,
up all you want. But if it's
I
if it's
agree,
the
but
workplace, it's common sense
yeah,
that you're not supposed to make mess there, right? So
yeah,
if
that's why I
if
like. that's why I like telling people like just them, like rather than bringing it out in the open and throwing them under the bus. Because I feel like if you bring it up, it will embarrass them, or like I said, they might take it the wrong way. So you tell them, you know, like to their face, and as a
See,
co-employee,
that's
and
the
it's
thing because
nothing,
I think it's how we. I don't know. If it's the culture itself or I don't know, but it's so much easier to do that in other countries where, like, for example, in Japan.
yes,
It's so easy to like,
yes,
"Oh, can you please not blah blah blah," and it's like, "All right, cool."
yeah,
That's the end of it,
yeah,
right? Because you
yeah,
can just like
yeah.
say that. But I don't know if is it our language or is it like the way we
No, no,
use
no.
our like
You
how we communicate
no,
with
no.
each other?
I think as you brought it up, because like you said in Japan, people are rarely friends. They're usually like just, you work together, your colleagues, like you work in an office or your co-teachers, but outside of that, you're no longer friends. So you don't have that relationship that you're so concerned about. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's easier to tell a stranger something rather than somebody close to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Really?
because you're not too concerned about how they would take it. Like, they won't be offended. But if you're working with somebody and that person is also a friend,
Mm.
and then you tell them something, they're always going to be like, okay, you're throwing me under the bus, or especially if you say it out in the meeting. Like it's going to be taken differently. I think people are more sensitive here because of that sort of.
I
We
think
always take it like,
it's just how we do things. We like drama. I think that's how we are.
yeah, not
Because
us
there's
though. I
nothing
think we're
like that.
different.
Oh
Not
yeah, yeah,
everybody,
that's
certain
true. That's
people,
true.
right?
That's why
Like
I
us too.
survived
We,
here.
we can we can communicate directly. I know
Yeah.
you. You'd
So
prefer
I
it. You'd be
mean,
like, why
basically,
don't you
that's why I
tell me
survived here
directly?
because yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's why you survive there.
I
Exactly.
mean, in the Philippines, it's just there's just like full of dramas. You could
It's
just
full of drama.
you know,
Exactly.
I mean, you could just like talk about it, and that's the end of it. But people don't want it to be the end of it, and they just want to blow it up, blow it out of proportion. And that's
I know.
yeah, that's stressful, and it's I mean, I never like that. So like I told
So
you,
that's why I'm very
it's not
direct. I'm very direct,
it's
and
not
I
stressful
hope
here.
people don't. I hope people don't get like, because I remember like Chuck, like Chuck when I
Right.
would come in after him, and he would like leave a barbecue stick like under the freaking freaking console, man. So I'm like, so whenever when he comes in, I tell him, dude, man, don't leave the freaking barbecue stick in the console, or like, he's like, oh,
Right, yeah,
I did
like
that, like, sorry, dude. And that's it, like that's it. So I didn't have to bring that up at a meeting. He doesn't have to get a memo for that. And I
no,
told
no,
him
no, no,
about it
no.
because if it was another DJ that saw that, he might not tell him directly, and he might get in trouble. But like I said, for me, it's like I just
Probably,
told him
yeah.
directly. I'm like, it's like, oh, I did that, I did that. Like he totally forgot about it. Maybe he was like doing a show, eating barbecue, like banana Q or something, and like he just stuck it in there.
Right.
Like he was there
See,
was
that's the
no
thing.
harm
It,
intended.
it's so Pinoy. Like all of a sudden, somebody would just like post something on the cork board, please, blah blah blah,
Yes,
blah. Right? I
yes,
mean,
yes. Why don't you just tell the
instead of
guy?
just like
He's fine.
yeah, you can just like take a photo of it. Like, dude, you left your barbecue stick here.
I know.
Right? Just like right, you can just like do that. Like take a photo. Like, dude, your barbecue stick's still
Exactly.
here. I don't want to clean it up next
I
time. All right,
know.
I'm cleaning it up
And
now, but next time, please don't leave it here.
yeah, I told Chuck, and Chuck's like
It's
he
gross,
never
right?
gets mad at that
You can
stuff.
say that,
He
it's
ne-
gross, and you'd be like, "All
no, he
right,
just
sorry, sorry. I'll yeah, I won't do it again. All right, fine. Sorry. I know it's gross.
yeah.
You
I
know
mean,
me."
or sometimes like he'll leave like the volume on or the switch. He'll turn it off. You know what I'm saying? Like the mic switch. Like he'll turn it. I'm like, dude, you don't have to turn the like like there's an A B or something. He'll put it on the B, but all you have to do is just put the volume down and turn off the mic. So sometimes when we're ready to do our show, like when we go on board, we turn on the mic and the volume's already up, but it's not on the
Right,
on the
right,
A
right, right,
switch,
right.
so it doesn't register. So
We're
sometimes
like
I tell him that
talking,
too, like, dude,
and sometimes if you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
you're
the
like talking,
headphones, we wouldn't
yeah. So
know
I'm like,
that we're
I'm
not
very direct
broadcasting or
about it. Like,
we're not actually on air. So yeah, that's
exactly. I mean, that's all there is to it. Because I mean, like, if you let it linger and you let it like marinate, and it starts to build over and boil over, and then you see,
right.
like, that's when it gets confrontational. Because that's when you start taking it. They're like, okay, this person's really rude. This person, you never even told him the first offense. You never even like mentioned it to him. So I think it's fair that you tell the person right away so that it doesn't boil over. And it didn't piss me off. I mean, I understand. I know how he is. I mean, I know how that could possibly happen. You're absent minded and you just like you stuck that thing. You're thinking about throwing it later, and you forgot. I mean, there's no malice in that. It's a human error. So I mentioned it to him, and I'm pretty sure if I do the same thing, he would also tell me like, hey, Rod, could you put the headphones back? And dude, why do we have to take that personally? You know what I'm saying? Right? Why do we have to take it personally? We don't have to take that personally. It's not like somebody insulted your parents or something. It's just like, just put something back where it's supposed to be. That's it. And that's just how they are. And it's not just your workplace. There's someone else that's coming in after you. So you also have to be considerate about that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of people are educated, a lot of people, but they don't have the training. Like a lot of people are educated, a lot of people have experience, a lot of people have the age. Like that's why I don't buy it when people say, "Oh, I've been in industry for so many years." Yeah, but you haven't learned a thing about being considerate. You know what I'm saying? It's not about like how you've been for so many years, but the people around you have tolerated your crap. So you haven't learned a thing. But if you've been working for even just a year, but in within that year, the people around you have been mentoring you, have been telling you, okay, this is how you do it. Then that 1 year of work experience that you had is probably equivalent to 10 years of somebody who's been working but not really learning anything because they were never reprimanded or nobody ever, because I don't know, maybe out of respect, out of fear, out of I don't know, because like I heard horror stories about like the previous like the radio stations where like some guy would like bring a gun to the station and like, I'm like, did you guys do anything about it? Like, no. Why? 'Cause he had a gun. I mean, shouldn't you? Right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, shouldn't that be dealt with like right then and there? But did you know that Gilbert Arenas like got kicked out of the team in the NBA because he bought a gun in the locker room? I mean, that's an NBA player. You know what I'm saying? He's worth
Right.
millions, but still, he lost his job because he did something that he's not supposed to do. But here in the Philippines, like, I don't know, man. I don't really get it. But anyway, 2000s, 2010. I think this was pre. What was this? When did Facebook start? 2000, 2006. Do you know when
Probably
Facebook
we
started?
yeah, probably around that. All right. So we're finally talking about the topic now.
Yes, we are. It leads to the topic. Don't you know that? Didn't you know that it always leads to the
That was the
topic?
longest
Because like
intro ever.
no, because
This is like a
think about it.
39-minute intro.
No, because think about it. Before Facebook, before like the explosion of social media, many people were doing things that's not known to other people because there was no channel to post these things. There was no, you know what I'm saying? It's like we wouldn't know about so many things. It's like Facebook now has become like like the real media, like the media, like where there's coverage for regular people. Like back in the day, the only ones in the newspaper and in the news would be celebrities, famous people, politicians, whatever. They would be the only ones we would like read about and know about. Now you would know about your neighbor, you would know about your work, you would know about
It's
your
kind of
childhood
silly, right?
friend, you would know about your teeth. It's getting silly. Like I said, it is getting silly. Like we're starting to know things that
it's
we
just
we don't need to know
well,
about.
not in Japan. In Japan, not a lot of people are into Facebook. Like if you ask people if they're on Facebook, they'd be like, I don't have Facebook." Most of them have lines. They probably have TikTok. They probably have no, not so much Twitter, Instagram, yes, but not Facebook. It's not big here. I think a lot. Well, they do have Facebook, but they don't go online all the time, and they don't post a lot of stuff. They wouldn't. They wouldn't even post pictures of their family. They wouldn't even post pictures of. If they have a picture that they want to post and they're with somebody, they would put stickers on their faces. For some reason,
Yeah.
they're like so big on privacy here. So you just can't post any
Yeah.
photo without other people's consent. So
Yeah.
here, you didn't know anything about anybody. Friends except for foreigners. My friends who are foreigners, yeah, they're expected to be really active on Facebook. But Japanese, no, they're not. Like I don't even know anything about my neighbors. I don't know anything about my Japanese friends on Facebook. They don't post a lot on their Facebook. I do, and I post a lot about my daughter, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're not scared?" Because they don't even post pictures of their kids there, like not so much. Like they try to
Hmm.
minimize it. They try to post as little as possible because I don't know, for some privacy thing. So it's not too toxic because you don't see them, you know, do things or whatever. Like it's with us, we basically know what our neighbors or what our friends are eating for breakfast, right? What they're watching on
Yeah,
TV, what they're listening on the radio or on their iPods or on their iPhones. So it's kind of like, wow, this is just like so weird. Like you seem to know everything now. Like even if
yeah,
you're miles and miles away, or even like like so just far. I mean, people are in different continents, and you'd still be aware of what they're doing and what kind of job they
yeah.
have.
And
It's kind of weird.
it's crazy too because like it starts to it becomes habitual and it becomes addicting. It's like now you can't get through your day without knowing about what your friends are having for breakfast or what are they. I mean, like we used to not care and not know about these things, and we were fine. Like we went through our day not knowing about it. It's fine. Now we're more interested in that. Like if you go through Facebook and you get like news about celebrities and stuff, that's not interesting to you. You want to read up on somebody you want to read up on, and I don't know what that is. And I know also of people who are not really so much into reading up about other people. They're more about broadcasting themselves. And I think it's I don't know if it's being narcissistic or just like having dreams of grandeur or celebrity ambitions or what. I don't know what it is. But I guess as Filipinos, we're like I said, we like to socialize, we like to hang out, we like to talk about other people with people. We're not really the most private people in the world. We like to broadcast everything that we own. We like to broadcast everything that other people own, and it's part of our culture. It's in just in our nature, and it's not entirely bad. I think it's also kind of in a way refreshing that Filipinos are so trusting and Filipinos are so willing to lay it out there and not be very suspicious about everything and at the same time not paranoid about everything. Because like if you go to countries like maybe Germany or whatever where like you don't hear a whisper, it gets kind of creepy. It gets kind of like sometimes you'd rather hear your neighbors rather than not hear them because if your neighbors are too quiet, that's kind of like hold on, what's going on there? It's like I mean, yeah, they're torturing their kids. What's going on? I mean, so you don't know. And I think that it's kind of cool, and we've accepted it. And it's within like the Filipino circle, we understand it and we accept it. But of course, with other people and even like fellow Filipinos overseas who have gotten used to the more private life, they're they're more careful about it. Raj, Raj, turn it off. They're more careful about it, and they don't understand that aspect of this anymore. Like if you talk to your relatives overseas or friends overseas, they are more kind of careful about what they post. And I think a lot of it has to do with the risk that's involved with employment in terms of what you share on social media. Because in the Philippines, we don't really care very much about that. We don't think about like our bosses are looking at our profile and finding out that we drink too much or that we party after work or that, you know, our wives are, ranting about us. In the States, that's those are serious matters. If word got out that you did something, you know, then it's going to jeopardize your employment. It's going to jeopardize your career. That's why they're very careful about that stuff. Whereas with us here, we don't really think much about the consequences. I mean, it's like you're sharing that you're at a bar at this particular time, and then you're not even thinking that your boss might be checking, and you're like, isn't he supposed to be on board? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Isn't
we
he
don't
supposed to
care
be
much
working
about
right
that.
now?
Hold on, live? What is he
What?
doing? What is he doing? What is he doing Facebook Live like at a club? I mean, he's supposed to be on air, right? Like, we don't think about that stuff. And our boss probably won't even think about that stuff too. It's just how it is. Like, but in the U.S. or other parts of the world, like it can hunt you down. It can ruin your career. Something from your past can ruin your career. I mean, Michael Phelps, 8-time gold medalist, or however many times he won the gold medal for swimming. When an old photo of him smoking weed off a bong surfaced, all of a sudden, he was not the goody two shoes all American athlete. But this is something that he probably did just once, and had probably had nothing to do with his swimming ability and the goal that he won for the country, but just the fact that that popped out on social media, all of a sudden, he wasn't perfect anymore. Or like Tiger Woods, when his like phone conversation with his escort lady leaked, all of a sudden, wow, Tiger Woods, greatest golfer on the planet, you know, is he's actually not a tiger, he's a cheetah, as they would call him.
Mm.
But right? But I mean, in the Philippines, that's not even frowned upon. People would be like, you know, oh, there's a third party involved. Of course, there's a third party involved. It's Aljur. He's a good looking guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not it's not necessarily something that would, it's not really that's not something that would ruin him. And I think that's why in the Philippines we take more risk, because it's kind of not as frowned upon or as damaging to your reputation or whatever as it would be, let's say, in another country, because we're just so used to it. It's like it's not even a scandal anymore. It's just we sometimes we even look up to it. So yeah, and I think that with the decade of 2000 to 2010, that was definitely the explosion of social media. That was also the revival of Apple. Apple has been around for a long time, but they're like known as Apple Macintosh, and they've been making like computers, and that's it. And the '90s was all about Nokia. I think early 2000s was all about Nokia, and then maybe the
Right.
latter part of
Yeah,
2000, right?
that's the Apple Revolution because it was founded in
Right?
1976 and it has existed as a company for about 45 years. But in 2001, yeah, the music industry struggled to control its revenue streams in the era of file sharing and piracy. But Apple developed the iPod, which everybody loved.
Yes,
All right,
yes. You're right. You're
so
right.
I
It was
think
the
I
iPod.
think
Yeah,
that yes, it's the most profitable MP3 player of its era. I think, and
that started it.
a
That
lot of
started
other
it.
companies tried to copy iPod, but I don't know. For some reason, it's just iPod is just there until iPhone
Did you ever have
came about.
did you ever own an iPod? Because I mean, we were like DJs, right? So we that
Shuffle.
was like a big thing.
I had an i iPod Shuffle.
The small one, right?
Yep.
The square one.
Right.
Okay.
It
I
sucked,
remember my
but yeah,
mom
I
coming
had
home
that.
from one of her. She came home during one of her vacations, and I asked her for I think a Zune, or I don't know if it was a Zune or something, but it was also an MP3 player, but it wasn't an iPod, because iPod was like, for me, was like too expensive, and it was too kind of high end, because I remember that certain rap videos would feature the artist with an iPod on the music video. So I'm like, okay, that's too expensive. And I remember seeing like a U2 edition one being sold at G Mall, and that was expensive. So I told my mom, hey, can you buy me like a thing, like it's also branded, but it's not by Apple. And she came home and she bought me like a stick looking thing, but it was also an MP3 player. And I remember it was only like 200 MB capacity or whatever, so I was able to put like how many songs in there. And that was my first MP3 player, and it was in an iPod. And a lot of other MP3 players came out, but it wasn't like, it was a hit in the US and maybe in first world countries. But in the Philippines, I did not know too many who owned the original iPod, or even the second gen, or maybe the third gen. I know I was only able to own my first iPod because of it was an iPod Nano, because of my sister. My sister Angel, she upgraded her iPod Nano to like the newer iPod Nano, which had bigger capacity and I think had a camera built in. And so she kind of handed down her old iPod, which is still with me and still in my car. So that was like, that's it. That was my first iPod. But you're right. Apple did start its revival and its revolution with the iPod, and then the iPhone eventually. But I don't know anybody who owned an Apple Macintosh like home computer, because those were expensive. Those were expensive. And
True.
the
True.
MacBooks, I don't know when they started, but the 2000, 2010, that was the era for that. Do you know exactly what year
What the iPod?
the iPod came out?
iPod. I think in 2001. It was
Oh, wow, that
it was around
okay,
that
that
time.
long ago, huh? Okay.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
like the beginning of my radio career.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
think I started um seeing those things because we're like usually delayed compared to North America. Like usually the things at least at that time, the things that are available in America usually just comes to us a year or a couple of years after, right? So I started seeing all these things around 2003, 2004. Like
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ripper always has those, I mean, he's a techie guy. Like he likes
He
gadgets and
is,
stuff.
yeah.
So I remember seeing those when I started, sometime in 2003 at Killer B. So I would assume that, yeah, it's around that time, around 2001 when, these things started coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very high
Because the
tech looking
iPhone
because it
was,
had that wheel
yeah,
thing, right?
because I think it took a while before, sorry, before iPhone was released because the first iPhone was in 2007, right? So
Yeah.
and this was based on the idea that I think what's the guy's name? Steve Jobs wants to combine iPod and a phone to make it an iPhone or something. It's like internet plus internet and applications and whatnot. So that took like probably that long what 5 6 years. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna call it. I'm not gonna call it a long time, but I mean, well, if you think about it, well, it is kind of long, right? From 2001 to
Yeah.
2007, because that's like 6 years. Now it's like every
Mm-hmm.
year there's something coming out. They just released the new
Yeah.
iPhone and they're already talking about the next iPhone. That's how
Yeah.
fast it is
Yeah.
right
I
now.
know. You're
But back
reading
then,
about
yeah,
it
it's
already.
kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, think
Yeah.
if you think about it, right? So it's been a long time for 6 years before
And
the
the
iPhone
funny
came
thing was,
out. Oh man,
this was during like when Nokia's heyday, right? So and Nokia was like, getting into the smartphone thing. I remember they, but they were using like Java, whatever the heck system they were using, and but but they did have like a primitive form of like a smartphone. And then Apple came out with the iPhone. I don't know if BlackBerry came out at the same time, but BlackBerry was a big hit. I had a BlackBerry, and I think it was given to me by Judge, by then Attorney T. He gave me his old BlackBerry, and I remember having that. And the BlackBerry was very, very popular in the States because it had its own like chat group. Like it had a I don't know what it was, BB something. Where it was like if you were a BlackBerry user, you could go to this, like you will have your own in like hosting thing where BlackBerry users can go and chat there, and kind of like it was like kind of exclusive. And I like typing on the QWERTY of the BlackBerry because he was just very I don't, did you ever own a BlackBerry? Ice, did you ever have a BlackBerry? I think you're muted.
sorry.
Okay,
Reese
there.
had a BlackBerry and she handed it down to me. It was handed down to her, then she handed it down to me when she started using. Was it an iPhone or was it a smartphone? It could be Galaxy or it could be an iPhone. But when she had a new phone, she gave me the old BlackBerry and I used it for quite a while. But
Yeah, I did
well,
too.
it was I why
I did
it
too.
didn't
And
have
it
any
it died a
it
natural
didn't have
death.
any connection or yeah, I think so. Because when I brought it here in Japan, I could use it, I could connect it to my internet, but I couldn't bring it outside because I mean, it didn't have any connection. It didn't have a subscription, so I just used it at home, and it was pretty useless, really. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
chat
wasn't a
group.
smartphone
Uh,
like
uh,
it wasn't like a
no, it wasn't. It
smartphone
wasn't.
where yeah, yeah. The old BlackBerry of Uncle Rod is still in the hands of Grandpa. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. It ended up with him, but I remember that the BlackBerry was very popular, but it didn't last also very long. But for those who preferred like communicating using QWERTY, because I remember the BlackBerry became so popular with the QWERTY keypad built in, and it wasn't like a virtual QWERTY keypad. It was built. It was physical. that Nokia started releasing phones that also had like the QWERTY keypad built in. I remember even like my wife subscribing to a plan just to get the Nokia phone, which is like the E63 or something, which resembled that of the BlackBerry. But then that obviously, like I said, fizzled and died a natural death because iPhone was just, it was just cooler. Because when you get your iPhone, it's also an iPod. It's basically you get like two cool gadgets in one. You get an iPhone and you get an iPod, and the screen was better than everyone else's. The build was better than everyone else's. And it started the Apple culture, which had its own thing. And now, when you talk about Apple, it's just people just gravitate towards it because it just has a great user interface. It's very simple. It's very sleek. And it has its own look that kind of set the standards. So 2010 was a transitional period. For those that don't remember, that was the time when internet became faster. That was the time when phones became like a two-player thing, right? It ended up being just now it's like Samsung and Apple basically. If you talk about like top of the line, which one you should go for, and I think even Apple just like owns that in terms of exclusivity. Um, yeah, and now it's just Android or iOS. Those are just the two operating systems. Back then there was Java, there was different. Motorola had its own thing, and then I remember Motorola was starting to pick up. That also died a natural death because they did not. They didn't. They just still they went with Android. I think. So I think that's what happened with BlackBerry too. They went with Android. So that was the time. And then the 2010. What was that decade about in terms of music, Ice? Because I mean, was that the boy band girl group era or just like the first couple of years?
No, the boy band was like back in the 90s.
Oh, but okay, so that's 90s. All right.
Right.
So
Well, what?
so the
Well, okay.
latter part of the 90s was boy band, right? The early part was like alternative, right?
Early part, yes. No,
Early
even
part
in
was
the early.
alternative.
Well, they were already popular. The early 90s in the states, I think. Um, even take that was like around 91, 92, right?
I
But they were not
remember.
big in the
Okay,
Philippines at
take.
that time,
I don't know about
right?
92, but I remember take that when I went to Germany to visit my dad in 1995. Take all my sisters were crazy about take that. Robbie
Right.
Williams, Gary Barlow. I,
Yeah.
I remember the
They were
names
already
of the
around
members
91,
because
92.
they
Like
were
I said, I was
there.
watching this
And
documentary. They were already big in England. And even the
and the
Backstreet
Backstreet
Boys, they
Boys
were like around
came
91,
around the same
92.
time. Were they around
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
time?
around the same time. But they became popular here around 95, 96. I think that was the time when
Okay,
they, had a breakout here in the Philippines. Now all of a sudden, it started pouring out. Then we have NSYNC, we have 98 Degrees, we have Code Red, all these
but
boy
that was the
bands coming
2000s.
out.
That was the early
Yes,
2000s, right?
Bed and Breakfast. So
Ant and
yeah,
Deck.
the early 2000s they were already fading out because I think the Millennium album of the Backstreet Boys, that was kind of like sort of their, the last album I remembered them to be, like to be big. Though when I was already with Killer B around 2004, 2003, 2004, they had that incomplete song, but it wasn't that big compared to I Want It That Way, which was in 1999. It was like going into the new millennium. It was like late 99, early like just few months in the year 2000. And yeah, they were kind of like that was a big release, but after that they were just nothing. All of these other genres are coming out, like the pop culture kind of like sort of changed at that time. I mean, names like Maroon 5 came out
Jennifer
around
Lopez,
the early
right?
2000s. Yeah, Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer
Then Green Day
Lopez.
came back, all right. Then Sugar Ray, right? No,
Was
no,
it the
Sugar Ray was like
Britney?
the late
Was it the
90s.
Britney
Well, Britney
Christina
was still
Aguilera era, or was it
no
Jessica Simpson already? And
Britney and
you know,
Christina. They were like in the 90s. But then
okay, so
Jessica Simpson came out.
Mandy
Um,
Moore.
yeah, like Usher.
Avril
What else?
Lavigne, Michelle
Um,
Branch.
Michelle Branch. Then yeah, Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne was big. Uh,
Avril Lavigne was big.
50 Cent. 50 Cent.
Yes,
Uh,
50 Cent was big. Eminem came out. Linkin Park came out.
Lincoln Park. Who else? Like
Um,
what's that? What's that group? Um, Black Eyed Peas.
LFO,
Black
Black
Eyed
Eyed Peas,
Peas.
LFO,
Well, LFO was like in
um,
the 90s. They were like late,
Baha Men.
mid, late 90s.
Baha Men.
Baha Man, they were like what, like in the late 90s, early
So
2000s with
this
the
sounds
Britney
like,
and
and they all
Christina
have like one
era.
song. It's just like it's just one song, right? Red Hot Chili Peppers have been around forever. I was still in the States when Red Hot Chili Peppers was already there. The Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out. I was still in the States, and that they've been around for a long time. You know, you can mention like a decade from the previous 3 decades, and Red Hot Chili Peppers were there. They came out with something. But when you're talking about just specifically 2000 and
Well, not just the Red Hot,
2010,
you too, you too. They
my YouTube is like,
80s,
yeah,
90s,
my
2000s.
dad's
They were
age.
always around.
Yeah, yeah. They're always around. That's true. So yeah, they're three
You know
redheads.
what else was big back in the 2000s? Survivor and
Tat-
American Idol.
tattoo. Tattoo.
Survivor and American Idol.
Remember,
They
remember
they were
tattoo?
they
And
were
we'll talk about
huge.
we'll talk about the competition. All the things she said, all the things she said, all the things she said, and that tattoo. TATU. Remember that?
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Oh, okay. So anyway, okay. So let's talk about the TV shows. So the 2000s, American Idol. What was the other one? Survivor. Yeah, Survivor. Survivor.
Survivor.
Yeah, I
I didn't
remember
even
watching
watch it, but I
Survivor
know
all
it
the
was
time.
big.
No, no,
Really? You
I
watched
remember
it?
watching.
I never
I
watched it.
did.
I know about it. It's always on
I'm trying
TV,
to
but I never
recall
watched
where
it.
I was watching it.
Same
I
with
don't know if we had
Lost. I never
cable.
watched Lost ever.
No, I never
Did you
watched
ever
Lost.
watch
I
Lost?
tried watching Lost. I got lost. Like I didn't get it. And then I just stopped. Like I didn't watch.
All right, never
I didn't
mind.
get it.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it was just too many like flashbacks and stuff. But Survivor, I got hooked on a couple of seasons. I remember. I'm trying to recall if I watched Survivor on Studio 23 or wherever, or we had cable at the time. I'm trying to figure out if we had cable at the time because I don't know where
Survivor.
if Survivor was Survivor being shown on local TV here. You
Studio
remember?
23. Studio 23.
Okay, so that's where I was watching it. I remember an episode where like they were competing for uh a like a cheeseburger meal, and like
Right.
I felt their craving, like, because they all look like they all lost so much weight. They're all been eating like nothing but coconuts and stuff, and I was like, Jeff, I think it was Jeff Probst who was like the host, and he's like, he showed like each one of the, like, if your tribe wins, each one of you will have like a cheeseburger with French fries meal, and they were all like, we better win this thing, we better win this thing, and they were really literally like for the cheeseburger with French fries, and if you watch that show, you really get to you realize that you take a lot of things for granted. I mean, I'm sure those people realized that they took a lot of things for granted, and they weren't like millionaires or anything. Like some of them were just teachers, some of them were just like former servicemen, some of them were like just like regular guys. But then when they're put in that position, it's like you don't even dream about like a steak meal anymore. You don't even dream about living in a big house anymore. They just wanted like the most basic comfort. And that's what I liked about Survivor. I think it's like whenever I watch it, I
Well, I
always like
think they had
appreciated
that.
what I
Why did they join that freaking TV show or that
the
freaking
what.
competition? I mean, they all
Well,
had
I
those
think there's
basic stuff that they needed. But then they were
yeah,
like,
I
"All
did.
right,
I
I'm
know.
gonna try this out." And now they're like, "Oh, I want to." Like, then you go back, quit.
Okay, what was it? What was a stake? What was it like? Was it a million? What was it? What were they gonna get? Like if
I
you're the
have no
ultimate
idea.
survivor?
I have no idea. I never watched it. I don't even know what it was.
Oh my!
I know it's
Really? You
a
never?
surviving
Okay.
game. You need to survive, and they were like in a beach or something. But I never really understood what the show was all about. I mean, were they fighting? Were they what? Like, you're mentioning tribes. What were they in a group? And were they what? Like, do they have to beat up each other? I mean, $1 million, I
Um.
think. Okay, all right. Quick question to this to Alain. Alain, I noticed on your Facebook you have the word the Gita, you know, just written right beside your name. Like, what's what's the meaning of that word? I mean, how did you
That,
come up
what
with
is
that
it?
word? The
The
gitab.
gitab?
Yeah, does it mean
Backwards.
anything?
What's backwards? What's backwards of it?
Um, the gitab, batiga. No, it's
Batigad? But
I just
batigad.
wanted to know because it's kind of, yeah, I mean, it means something to me too. So I was just like, I mean, I'm just thinking that if we have like what, like a common connection, or like, are we connected? Because of
Is
that
that an
word, it was like
organization? Is it a last name? What is it?
it's a
Is it like
band,
a
actually.
group?
It's a band.
Oh, it's a band. All right.
Ah, all
It's just a
right,
moniker used because I am an electrical engineer. Okay. So
all
what is the
right.
gitab? What does it mean?
Okay. The Gitab is because my dad worked for Devilite, right? So he works for Devilite too.
Oh,
So I don't
there
know
you
if
go.
it's
Okay.
like,
Electrical.
I
All
don't know
right.
if it's a Devilite thing, but then my dad was managing this band. The name of the band was the Gitab, so that was the name of the band. But they were not like a
Got it.
band. All right, the Gitab is an electric current. Or maybe that's why they picked the Gitab, because
Okay. All right.
they were like
Wow.
members of the union, and they were like singing,
Mm.
like folk songs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
songs that electric
Ang
current in
sabi
Tagalog.
niya,
That's
Freddy,
yeah, all right. Yeah,
mag-aral
yeah,
kang
they were
mabuti.
singing songs like that. So that was like the
Yeah.
band that my dad managed, and all of them were like from Devilite, and they were members of the Devilite Employees Union. And right, so the band's name
The
was the
gitab.
Gitab. So
Wow.
now
Yeah,
I know.
I just
So the
know that.
Gitab is
It's an electric
is
current
electric current in Tagalog. All right,
in
okay.
Tagalog. In
Right,
Tagalog, the
the
gitab.
Gitab.
All right.
That's why. I never asked my dad what it meant. It was like, oh, it sounds cool, but then they weren't playing cool music, because they were playing, those
What about
activist
It Me
music.
Gims? It Me Gims. What is that?
That I know. That I know. It me gives. It me gimaw. All right. Whoever came up with that one? Holy crap!
Higgins
All
stole
right.
the wins. All right. Anyways.
All right. Going back.
Okay, going
So
back, going back.
Survivor.
Doesn't make sense again.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
Survivor. Yeah. I never watched it, but well, at
You
least
got a
you did.
million.
Right.
Man, I'm telling you, dude, you watch it, you see the transformation. It's like you root for some guys, and there are some guys who are like bad guys because they're so like they stir the pot. They like make the others like hate each other. So then everybody's all like hating each other, so that he ends up being like the survivor. And it really is it is what it
Well,
is.
who
It's like you
chooses the
can't be the
survivor?
nice
Who chooses the
dude.
survivor?
Dude, at the
How does
end
it
of
happen?
I think at the end of at the end of
It's
every
not fight to
quest
the
or
death,
something,
right?
they vote people out. You get voted
All
out,
right.
and then
All
you
right.
can also
Okay.
play for immunity. So, for example, there's like a competition, right? Okay, who can get this particular thing? You have to go through an obstacle course. So, if you get that obstacle course, then you get immunity. So, if you get the immunity, when then it's that night where you have to vote people out, you don't get included in that list. So they can't vote you out. So you survive that round. Um, but that's
Okay. So
like maybe the
I don't get
physical
it. Like, so
aspect.
you get voted out. So what if there's just
Yeah.
like two of you? What if there's just like two of you? Like, who gets voted out? If there's just like the
No,
two of
if
you
there's
left,
just two. No,
I will
if
vote
there's
you
like
out. You
two
will
of you.
vote me
Maybe
out. We're all out.
no. I think you have to compete. Then that's when that's when there's like a competition. Like you have to fight. So it's really not just. It's not 100% like physical because some of the guys there are more athletic than the others. There are also some where like the puzzles are more mental, so you can use like your brain. And there's also some where, like I said, whether you're good or bad, if you get voted out, you're voted out. And that's why sometimes there are guys who are scheming and they make each other they make the other survivor you know finalists hate each other so that they'll vote each other out and he gets to be whatever. And it's hard to root for somebody because like you're trying to figure out how you would be if you were part of
Yeah,
that
the
group, like if
producer's
we
playing
were
you
in
for a
that this.
fool.
Yeah, exactly. You're all playing each other for a fool. Like you can start humors,
Right.
you can you can it's
As well as the
crazy. And you
viewers.
see
People who watch it are fools.
I guess it depends. I mean, because I know in the states, people can I think vote in, like they can text in and vote for who they want. I mean, obviously we can't do that here, so we're not as involved as the people who are in the U.S. who really get you vote for it. But it's more of like you just watching it and trying to, you see the transformation of the people. Like some of them start out nice and then they start to become like kind of scheming people, and then you need to realize that what people would do to survive. And you have to understand, a lot of these people, they came to a point where they were really hungry and
Right.
had no sleep, no comfort for like weeks. So your mind starts to go crazy. Okay, it is the two of you, the people who were voted out will vote for the winner. Oh, okay, okay. If it's the two of you, the group, yeah, the people who got kicked out, everybody who got kicked out will be the
Right.
ones
Can
to
you make
vote.
sense out of this?
So basically, all those were eliminated, right? And then there's only two of you remaining,
Right.
right? The ones who were
So they will
eliminated
vote.
will be the ones to vote. Yes. So if you were nice to these people, then obviously they might vote for you. I mean, they might vote for the other guy so that you will be the survivor. So that's kind of like it still matters what the people's impression is of you at the end, because you think they're gone, they're kicked out. No, they come back. They all come back, and then they all will have the final say. So so if you think, okay, I'm gonna win this one because I'm the most scheming one, but then you rub the other ones the wrong way and they knew you were the one who got them eliminated, then they can get payback, by kicking you out. And that's obviously at the end, that's the most important um of the immunity thing. I mean, of the voting sequence is the last part. And if these people know that you were the one who got them kicked out, because obviously they'll get to talk and they'll be like, oh, I voted you out because what's his name said that you said this about me, and they're like, no, I didn't say that. So then the truth will come out, and then everyone will hate you. I remember voting for this. I'm not voting, but I remember rooting for this guy named Boston Rob. Everybody hated that guy because he was kind of like, he was a jerk. He was kind of whatever. He didn't care. But man, I don't know if he became the ultimate survivor, or he was one of the finalists or the last ones that came out. But you kind of wonder how he made it that long on the show when almost everybody hated him, and you kind of wonder what his strategy was. But it happens, and you're still, obviously, like I said, you're left wondering how you would behave if you were the one in that situation. Which character would you be able to mostly relate with if you were
Wow. What a
there?
waste of time.
Well, it is, but then again, you always have this feeling that you're glad it's not you who's there. I mean, you see these
I
people
mean,
suffer. You see these people, right?
I think it's about the same time when 24 was already out too. I would rather watch
When what?
24. 24.
Oh, okay. Well,
Jack
well,
Bauer.
you have to
It's
understand that
different. It's different. But
this is a different
I mean,
category. It's a different
okay,
category. These are like,
it is.
this is like Kardashians.
I never liked reality TV shows. Not even American. I like Ryan Seacrest, but I never watch American Idol. I
No,
don't
I
really
don't
care
watch
for
American
American
Idol
Idol,
either.
but I mean,
I didn't care for
you know,
American Idol, which is funny
any
because we're in
like
radio,
the
right?
Kardashians as well. They were big, but I didn't watch it. I didn't watch
No,
it.
I didn't watch that too.
So
I didn't watch
any
that too.
reality TV show I've never watched. Like no, I can't remember that I've been a fan of a reality TV show because it's just like stupid. Like if I want reality, I just like go and look at outside my house and see what my neighbors are doing or what my office mates are doing or what my co DJs are doing. Right?
Yeah, but this
I mean,
is
why would I
but
have to look
Survivor
that
though was
far?
like Survivor was like a situation. It was kind of fresh at the time because you have to understand these are normal people put in a situation that also probably wouldn't be a normal situation. Like maybe for some people who live in the jungle, yeah, that's normal for them and they'd easily survive. If you're like, you're in Amazon and you live in the Amazons, you're
Right?
fine. But if you're a freaking like clerk at an office and then all of a sudden you're stripped naked of all the creature comforts, all of a sudden, like some of them don't even know how to open a coconut. Some people are like don't even know like how to make a freaking tent. Like a lot of us don't know how to do it. Like we were Boy Scouts or
Right?
whatever, but
I
you
mean,
know, so
I know, right? But like what you say, why would I want to go somewhere really far just to see a freaking scenery and then travel back 3 hours with the risk of being held up, with the risk of blowing a tire or not even finding a toilet? And like, you know what I'm saying? So it's
true
just like
that,
it's the same
true
thing.
that.
Like you don't do these
Yeah,
things. It's
yeah.
just like it's a waste of time.
We don't.
And it's like
We
like
don't.
with this
Well,
TV
but we're not the
shows,
ones
like
doing it.
people
We're just watching
yeah, I
them,
know we're not the ones
and that's why
we're
we
not the ones doing it,
that's
but it's
why
just
we
like
watch
I'm
it
looking at these people,
because we won't
they're
do
like,
it.
"Oh, I want to eat a cheeseburger." then yeah, why the hell did you join that freaking TV show? You could have just like stayed
because
in your
the
house.
offer was good.
You can eat cheeseburger every day if you want. But yeah,
That's
you want
true.
the
That's true.
$1 million, then yeah, you cannot eat cheeseburger for as long as
That's true.
I don't know, as the the how long has the show has to go on. I mean, that's how it is. So it's good.
Um,
But
I
yeah, whatever.
it overstayed its welcome for sure. I mean, it came to a point where they had like a Survivor All Stars, where all the survivors of the previous Survivor seasons, like
Came
had
back
like
again,
this
and they have to
giant,
do the same thing again.
yeah,
Like they have to
yeah. But
survive again.
it wasn't like the latter seasons of Survivor wasn't like it wasn't the same as the first one because, like I said, people figured out like they figured out hacks on how to like survive because they've seen the previous episode. They kind of knew, okay, so this is how it works, so they knew every trick in the book. But the first season, I think for me was kind of like the one that was really just it was fresh because when you watch it, you really see these people struggle. And as Filipinos coming from a tropical country, a lot of the things that they were struggling with was like normal for us. Like, eating coconut, like opening a coconut. That was like normal for them. It was like so new. Like they didn't know what. Yeah, and
Dude,
these are like white folks. Most of
what
them
do
are
you
like
mean normal? Do
white.
you eat coconut every day? You don't eat
But I
coconuts
mean,
every day.
well, it's more normal for me than it was for them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I
Probably,
see
yeah,
it
but
everywhere.
you
I mean,
say
you know what I'm saying?
normal. You see it everywhere,
Well, it
but you
is.
don't
It
eat it
was.
every day.
No, no. But
And
back
you
in the
don't
day, in
open
the
a
old dude,
coconut. You buy coconuts. You can't open
true
it. Like,
that.
well, did you?
True that. But I can kind of a little bit. But yeah, like I said, what you get
No,
what I'm
no,
saying, man. I mean,
no.
I'm not, I'm not like,
Hindi ko butong gabi.
but I could if I had to. You know what I'm saying? Like I could if I had to, and you could if you wanted
Yeah.
to.
But okay, if they
If we had
put me there,
tools.
I would struggle too because they will make it difficult for me. Like I don't even know how to start a fire without a match. Even if there's a
Same
match and
here.
no kerosene,
Same
I don't
here.
know how to light a
Same
fire.
here. That's why. That's the beauty of it. That's what I'm saying. That's why you watch it. Like that's why you watch 24 because you can't be Jack Bauer. It's the same banana, man. But it's just the only difference
No,
is
it's
it
fiction.
was a
It's not
reality
reality.
show.
It's like, oh, this is
I
fiction.
know. Like
Like,
I said, so it's a different so it's a different appeal. So it's a different appeal. So what I'm saying is that was the start of the reality shows. And like what Alain said, 2000 was the peak of MTV reality shows. So if you talk about MTV reality shows, I'm talking about like Punked. We're talking about yeah, Punked was obviously MTV. I think MTV Cribs. I don't know if that was part
Cribs.
was during 2000s. West Coast
Yes, it
Customs. What was that? Pimp
was.
My Ride, right? Pimp My
Pimp
Ride
My
was
Ride.
that
Pimp
was
My
kind.
Ride. Right.
Yeah, that was kind of like a reality show. I mean, they get people's rides and surprise them at the end. I'm trying to figure out what other shows were there back then besides like American Idol and all that stuff. But like I said, when I saw Survivor, it was just the first season. The other ones I didn't really care for because people already figured it out, and you could see that a lot
House
of them
came
were just
out
acting.
around 2000. When did House came about? 2000, what,
Um,
2003?
that I'm not sure
2007? No, it
of.
was House.
Well, what were yeah? Let's talk about the great shows of the 2000s. What about what year was
When did it
Entourage?
premiere?
2000
2004. It premiered
was
2004. So that was my first
Entourage
year. Yeah, no, no, no. I'm talking about House.
House?
House is
Okay,
premiered 2000 November 16. Um,
that's
was
the
my
Brit
first
actor,
year
right? He's
in.
British. He's a British
Yes,
actor.
yes. Yeah. What's his name?
But forgot his name.
Hugh Laurie. Hugh Laurie.
Hugh
Hugh
Laurie.
Laurie.
Hugh Laurie. Yeah, Hugh Laurie.
So yeah, I'm a big fan. So yeah, it was released November
I know you were a big fan of
2004.
24. I know you were crazy over 24. That I
Yeah, because I
remember.
would be at the
You
station
were
and
not,
be just like watching 24. Like, oh, we have a party. Yeah, yeah. I'll just finish
and
24.
and
I'll get there.
24 also was 24 was also so fresh in concept because it was running in real time. Like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like
like from
it's not like they show you the next
8 to
day. They
9,
show
9 to
you
10. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It was like
and for me the most intense, like I didn't see all the seasons like of 24, but I just remember like there were a run of episodes that I really got hooked into. The one where I think it was the vice president's wife or the vice president, or was it the president, was like
hmm
involved in the thing, and
right, right. I think
he
it was
was
the
actually
wife.
like the bad guy. Was it the
Yeah,
wife
the
of the
wife.
president or the vice president?
Yeah. No, it did. The vice. Yeah, there was like that.
I
No,
think it
okay.
was the vice, right?
There was. there was a season where the wife was the culprit, the
The
wife of the
wife,
president,
yeah, yeah,
and there
yeah,
was like also the
yeah,
vice president as well, who was like the
yeah, yeah.
culprit. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it was pretty intense.
yeah. It was intense. It was intense. I followed that. I think I was in Bangkok at the time. When because my dad had like the DVDs and he had the Wool like 24 thing. He was also hooked into that. And my dad was watching it, and I never really cared for it. And like I said, a lot of these shows, man, it takes one or two episodes. If you end up like if there's like a series that like Lost, we don't watch Lost, but I gave it a chance. Not for me, you know. Entourage, definitely for me. Prison Break, I never gave that a chance. My wife started watching it. I watched it with her. I kind of liked it, you know, but only the first season. You know, just
I
that
got
first
hooked to
season.
it. I watched Prison Break,
Yeah, my
but then
man,
at
my
some
wife was
point I
hooked up Prison
developed
Break.
this anxiety. I was like, no, I never want to go to prison because like the setting is in prison. It's all prison.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you have to like no, I don't
Claustrophobic.
want to be.
You're like,
It's so yeah, it's so scary to be in prison. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like you can't
yeah,
go out.
yeah,
You can't enjoy the things that like you enjoy now. So it's like
yeah,
then you
yeah.
develop that fear. Like I don't want to be in prison ever. I don't want to.
You want to be in prison?
So you start getting scared about like maybe getting into an accident or doing something really bad. So
Okay, what about
it
Friends?
can
Friends
get
was
to you.
90s, right? Friends was
I never
90s.
watched it. It was in the 90s, but I never watched it. Even up to now, I don't find it funny. A lot of people
It's
like
yeah,
it. My wife likes it. It's not for me. I don't find it
I
funny.
watch
It's not
it.
for me.
And no offense to Pinky, I would watch Friends, but it wasn't really like I'm not laughing. You know, I laugh
No,
more
true,
watching How I
true.
Met Your Mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
But I'm not
exactly. I was
cracking
about to
up,
say that. You
right?
beat me to it. You
Yes,
beat me to it.
I laugh
How I
more
Met Your
watching
Mother.
How I Met
That's
Your
for me.
Mother. That's
I watch
funnier.
it. I watched
But
it. I'm a fan
Friends
of How I Met
is
Your
like you're
Mother, but
watching it,
Friends, no.
you're like,
Mm.
it's fine. You're watching them go through it,
Yeah,
but it's not really like you don't crack
same
up. Like you're
reaction.
not,
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm like, and my wife's cracking up because she has like a
no,
whole
I don't crack up.
whole bunch of DVDs, right? And she's like laughing, and I'm like, it's not funny. Let's watch a Seinfeld.
Maybe
Seinfeld's funny, all right? Why are you watching
yeah,
this?
it's
It's a waste
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
time,
Seinfeld's funny. Seinfeld is hilarious. What are you talking? Frasier is
right?
hilarious.
Frasier's hilarious. I like Frasier.
Two and a half men is funny. Two and a half men was
Yes,
funny. I mean,
Spin City. Spin City
but
was funny.
Spin City, I like Spin City,
Even even
but I don't.
even after Michael J. Fox's exit and Charlie Sheen took over, it was still funny.
Yes, it was so funny. But like what's it called? Yeah, Friends is sort of like yeah, it's fine, it's okay, but I'm just watching the story unfold. But I'm not cracking up. So I don't get why
Yeah.
people are cracking up. It's not like we don't get the
Like Big
jokes. We
Bang
get
Theory,
it.
I can watch it. I laugh at it. I mean, with
Yeah, I love
Friends,
a
I
Big Bang
never
Theory
laughed at
too.
any of the jokes there. I have no idea why. I tried watching it. Trust me, I tried watching it because a lot of people like it. So I really tried watching it, and I really tried laughing at it, but I cannot
Okay,
laugh. It's not
okay.
just funny to me.
Here's my tip. If you're gonna watch Friends, don't watch it expecting you'll be cracking up because some people will be. But I guess for us guys, it's like just watch it for like the storyline of it. Like don't really expect that you'd be cracking up because I don't even like I don't crack up, man. I don't get it. I mean, I get it,
Well, how
but
about?
I don't
Well,
get
do
why
you remember
it's so
Murphy
funny.
Brown? Do you
Of
remember
course,
Murphy
I love
Brown?
Murphy Brown.
All
Yes.
right. Because it was I was like I was young then, and I remember some of my cousins who are older really find it funny, and they're like cracking up
She was
all the
like a
time. But
newscaster,
I do
right?
not remember. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I do not remember exactly the punchlines or whatever. But
Yeah,
I
maybe
heard it
the
was really
humor
great.
was too kind of. Yeah, I think a lot of these shows they make. You have to understand if you're gonna watch a sitcom, you have to know the source material. Like, is it like, for example, Big Bang Theory? That's a nerd show, so they talk a lot about video games. They talk a lot about nerd culture, comics, and stuff. If you're not into that stuff, you're not gonna get a lot of the references. I mean, they'll talk about a lot about Star Wars and Star Trek. So if you're not a Trekkie, if you're not a Star Wars head, then you're not gonna get a lot of the stuff, and it's not gonna be as funny to you if you're that kind of person. But like when you watch Friends, Friends is like it's not even I wouldn't even say it's intelligent humor. It's like it's stupid humor, right? It's
It
even
is.
kind of to the point where it's stupid. It's like uh, they all look like for example Phoebe and Joey. They're like the airheads, right? They're like totally
Right.
so stupid. And yet, when you watch them and you see like Monica and all these guys, it looks like they're yuppies, right? It looks like they're college educated guys living together or near each other. So you're thinking people who are in that state in their lives don't really talk like that, don't really think that way. I mean, but they're all like too stupid at that, and that's why I probably don't find it as funny because like if you watch Jennifer Aniston play the dumb rich girl, they all try to be dumb. Like they're all like
I know,
the decisions that they
and I
make.
like Jennifer Aniston because I think she's funny. I like all her movies with Adam
Yeah, I
Sandler,
like Jennifer
but
Aniston. I think she's funny
right,
too.
right,
I liked her in Bruce Almighty.
but with
I liked her in The Breakup. I liked
right,
her in,
right,
you know,
yes,
yeah.
but in Friends, it's just like nobody makes me laugh there. Matthew Perry,
Who
no,
makes no, nobody makes me
nobody
laugh
makes me
there.
laugh.
David
David Schwimmer,
Schwimmer doesn't
no,
make me. David Schwimmer was probably the funniest, but he
they're
doesn't
all
make me laugh.
corny. They all corny
Yeah,
to me.
they all. It's
And
true.
Lisa
It's so
Kudrow, I
dry.
like Lisa Kudrow. Like Lisa Kudrow was
Yeah, I
in
like her
the
too.
in some movies, right? Like she
Yeah,
was
Romy and
in
Michelle's. Romy and
Romy
Michelle's.
and Michelle.
Romy and
Yeah, that was
Michelle's like
funny.
reunion.
And
Yeah, that was funny.
she was also with Robert
Wasn't
De
she in a
Niro, right?
mob?
Like one of
She
the
was. She was in a mob film. Was it a mob film?
no, it was like Robert De Niro and Bill Crystal. What was that? What was the
Oh,
title?
oh, hold on,
Bill
hold on.
Crystal, Robert De Niro. Analyze that.
No,
Analyze
no.
this.
Analyze that. Analyze that.
Analyze that.
Analyze this.
Analyze
Yes,
this.
I'll that and
Right?
analyze this. Yeah, yeah,
So she
yeah.
was and she was there. So I'm like, right, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the cast, like all together. They don't appeal to me as a group. But individually, I
Yeah,
think they're okay. But no, David Schwimmer, not really.
yeah.
I think
And I think I think the thing with Friends also is they always look like they're just saying their lines. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're just
I
like
think so.
taking turns to say their line. It doesn't come
Right,
off like, for
right.
example, if you watch Big Bang Theory, it sounds like they're really having a conversation. Like they're really
Exactly,
nerds
right? But
having
it's
a
really funny.
conversation.
I'm not even a
It's
nerd, but
really funny. They're like,
I would laugh. I
I
would
know,
like
I
laugh
know.
all the
You
time.
would laugh.
I'm not
Like
even a nerd.
Raj
I'm
is
like,
there,
wow, that was so
right?
funny.
I mean, there's Raj, and there's a pervy friend. But when you watch Friends, it's like they're just like saying their lines, and they're trying, and it's like yuppie
True,
humor. Like they're trying to
true,
be like better than the
true.
others. Like I said, I find
Even this
How I Met Your
there's this
Mother
TV show
funny.
now. What's this TV show? David what's it like Peralta, Detective Peralta. What's this? Like, hang on. So how can I
Who
forget the
stars in
title
it?
of this?
Who stars in it?
Um, Detective Peralta. Come on, like what's it's and the
I know. Brooklyn 99, right?
yeah, Brooklyn Nine Nine. Yes,
Brooklyn, yeah, Brooklyn 99, Brooklyn
it's
99.
so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Alan, thank you. Brooklyn
that
99.
was
I
that
mean,
was funny. Yeah, Brooklyn.
that's really
Yeah, Brooklyn
funny.
99. Brooklyn 99 is funny. Yeah, yeah, Brooklyn 99 is funny.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
Brooklyn
the
99 is
cast there
funny.
is just like even the captain. I mean, like everybody's funny. I mean, they don't try they don't try that hard. I mean, they can make me laugh. But with friends, like I try my best to really laugh. I want to laugh because a lot of people are saying that it's a great TV series. Like it's a great sitcom. I'm like, all right, let's see what's the fuss all about. But for some reason, I can't. I do not get
Yeah.
it.
No, it's not. It's not. You just watch it like it's Friends is good to watch if you just like want something playing and you just want to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing terrible is gonna happen. You know, it's not like it's not gonna be like tragic. It's just like you
Maybe
just want to
probably
fall
that's why
asleep all
my
the
wife
time.
liked it because I think she had it as a background. I don't think she really watched it. She just like had it, because she was
You
here in
just let it
Japan.
run.
Yeah, she probably let it
You
run and
just
she was
let it
just like
run.
sleeping. She was just like waiting for like
So it
for
sounds like
her
there's
to
people in your
visit
like,
her.
for example, if
Right.
yeah, I think you have to understand. There was a time when your wife lived alone for so long, so
True. True.
you've gotten used to watching shows just playing. Because if I was living alone, I would always have something on just to feel like there's somebody around, and I don't hear like the creepy sounds that's coming from the house or outside or whatever.
True.
But
True.
anyways, all right. So we're talking about 2000 shows. What about movies? What were the major events in you know in cinema during the 2000s? Well, 2002. When was Avatar? When did it come out? When did Titanic come out? I'm trying to. Was Titanic 90s?
Avatar. Avatar. Titanic. No, it was in the 90s. It was in the
Okay.
90s.
So
Avatar was in
so we're talking about like
2009. 2009.
okay.
Yeah. All right.
So we're talking about like Toy Story. We're talking about the Pixar era here. Is that what we were talking about? I know Spider Man came out 2000s. The
Harry
Marvel.
Potter,
Oh
Lord
yeah,
of the
Harry Potter.
Rings.
Okay, all right, there you go. Those two alone. Those two alone. That's it. That defines the decade. Harry
Harry
Potter,
Potter always,
Lord of the Rings.
gets me to sleep. Yeah, I mean, I always get into cinema. I always want to watch it, but for some reason, I always fall asleep. I have never
It's
survived a
because,
Harry Potter film.
dude,
I don't know
because
why.
especially
Lord of the
for
Rings,
the
I'm
both of
fine.
us, it's gotta be the most unrelatable thing in the world. I mean, Lord of the Rings, we still have this like dreams of like being knights and stuff, right? But Harry Potter,
Right.
British kids going to school, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what the hell
But
is
what's
this
so
crap?
surprising? But what's so surprising? Master Yoda in flip mode, they could survive. They watched
I
it. They
can.
never fell
I
asleep.
can watch Harry Potter.
I
I can
always
watch Harry
fall
Potter.
asleep, and they read the book too. So me, I didn't read a book. So probably that's probably one of the reasons. If I read the book, I would
Okay.
probably stay. I would probably stay up much longer to find out if it's close to
Okay.
the book or whatever.
If you're to make me choose between Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible and Matt Damon's Bourne series, I go Bourne. Bourne, I can like I like the Bourne series. Um, you know, they're similar in some ways, but I think I think Mission Impossible is just a little bit more over the top.
Yeah, I mean, like, why
And
just the two of them? Like, just the two of them? Just Born and
no,
Mission
I mean,
Impossible?
okay. We can also throw in maybe because I'm trying to figure out like during that decade, which
Okay,
movie
that
action
decade.
series
All
just
right,
came out.
that decade. All right, okay. 2000 and
Yeah, that
2010.
decade.
All
Because
right,
I'm trying
okay,
to
that
think if
decade. Okay,
I'm
I
trying
would go
to
for
think if
Jason
Daniel
Bourne too, but
Craig's
no, I'm a big fan of Mission
yeah, I'll go
Impossible.
for one.
I love Mission Impossible, but I don't know. But yeah, you have a point. Jason Bourne is very compelling.
It's darker
It's one of those
though. It's
films.
darker.
Yeah, it's darker.
Yeah, it's darker. If you want like something that's light action, not
Hi,
light action,
Raj.
but not as heavy,
You
um,
scared me there.
I'd say I'd say Mission Impossible. But if you talk about like kick but I mean when did Daniel Craig start doing Bond? It was maybe later, right? Not necessarily 2000 2010. Casino Royale. Because I
I
love
think it
Daniel
was
Craig's
around
Bond.
that
I'm a
time.
fan of
Okay, Casino
um
Royale. Let's see. I think this was before 2010.
also Liam
2006
Neeson.
Casino Royale. See? Casino
Okay, there
Royale
you
is
go.
2006. Are you
Also
kidding me?
Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, right? With his Taken series.
But Taken was like 2000, what, like 2012, 13, 14?
Taken was it's live. So it's taken
2008.
taken
Are you kidding me? 2008? The first Taken
taken was
movie?
2000. Okay, so there you go.
Holy shit.
Okay. Well this generation we have this decade we have John Wick. That's like the one that's taken over, right?
Right.
I
John
don't know
Wick
if you've seen
and
have you seen did you see Equalizer? Have you seen any of the Equalizer movies? You know what I like? I like
Equalizers.
Man on Fire. Denzel Washington's Man on Fire. That was a good movie.
I
Did you
saw
see it?
Man on Fire. That was good. That was good.
Okay, that was
But
good. Sicario. Do you like
uh,
Sicario?
dude, I love Sicario. But Joe
Sicario's
Rogan was
great.
talking about this with some military expert. They were like, "Oh, it's nothing near reality." But I'm like,
It's not
"Whatever. I don't care."
realistic.
Well, it's
Yeah, yeah.
fiction, but it's
I
fiction. I
think
just
they.
like how
I
they
think they.
execute whatever.
I think they said the same thing about. They said the same thing about American Sniper or something like that too. Like
Hmm.
a lot of it. I like they wouldn't respond that same way. But of course, man, come on. How exciting would it be if you like, if it was like so true to life? You have to kind of make it
True,
over the top a
true.
little bit, right?
Yes, yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
when Will Smith did Ali, I
that's
mean,
true.
I'm sure
But okay,
he
I'm a big fan
overacted
of
for
John
it.
Wick. I'm like John Wick. Like wow, like Equalizer. It's also good. It's also good. But
Yeah.
I'm more excited with I hope like it gets a part two. Nobody. Like no, I loved it. It was
Who was
John
that?
Wick, but more realistic. Dude, it's Bob Odenkirk.
Who the heck is
Breaking
that?
Bad.
Mike.
Breaking Bad, the
Oh,
lawyer.
okay, got it, got it.
Saul Goodman. Right? So he's like you haven't watched it?
Is this new?
Yeah, I think this was this year. Nobody.
Is is it on Netflix?
Well, they were saying that the John Wick and nobody would somewhat intertwine. Like they would like it's like they're talking about like a multiverse or something. Because it's, but I don't know. But if that happens, I would be really happy. Because dude,
Okay,
nobody was
so
really
hold
cool
on.
too.
So why was he also part of like an assassin club or
He
something?
was
Did
an
it also like
assassin. He
stay?
was like sort of like the auditor. So it was sort of he quit because he found a family. But then for some reason, it was like it's same with like a John Wick plot, like the storyline.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's more realistic though because with John Wick, he was just like boom right off the bat. It was still like he's 100%, and but he was like still a bit rusty because he was out for like almost a decade now. So he
Yeah. So
just
he
got
struggled.
back, and yeah, so he
Yeah.
struggled. He would he would get hit and whatnot, but he was a scary dude. Dude, you should watch the trailer because it's really nice. I
Okay,
enjoyed
I
it a
will
lot.
check it out. I will check it out.
Nobody. I can't believe you don't know Nobody. You haven't heard of
No, I don't
Nobody?
know. Like I said, I think it's region dependent. I don't know if it was big here in the Philippines. Because I mean, it should be big here in the Philippines. Let me check. Nobody. Was the music by the Wonder Girls?
Nobody but you. I wish.
That would like
I
ruin
wish
everything,
that.
man.
Yes.
Nobody trailer. All right, got it there. Because I mean, there's so many shows. Okay, I got it. I got it. Nobody trailer. Okay, 11 months old. This is like about a year old. It's about a year old.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and he looks
This
like
is
he
so
looks
awesome.
vulnerable too. Like he doesn't look
Right.
like he looks like I mean, he's a badass, but he kind of looks like a family guy type of guy, you know what I'm saying? He's not like John Wick where you see him, he's a badass.
Yeah. Yeah. He's actually like in the movie his family was shocked when they were under attack, and he just all of a sudden like put them in a bunker, and everyone like, "Oh,
Mhm.
we have a bunker." And it was and he
Mhm.
said like, "Whatever happens, don't call the cops. Don't call the police." Then he locked them like in the bunker, and he just like killed everybody. But he got hit. He got hit, but he killed everybody. So it was like so. Yeah, it was so funny. It was so awesome. But you should watch
I'll
it.
go watch it.
Like
I will watch it. Yeah, it is
I
a
don't know if
fairly
it's
new
on
movie. It
Netflix.
is. It's 2021.
And there was that
It's
part
a
in the
fairly new
bus when
movie.
he unloaded all the bullets from his 38, and he was just like, "I'm gonna fuck you up." Like he just said that, and like then he got hit in the face. I'm like, whoa. But he started beating them up.
Yeah, there's a bus fight scene. So I think I can watch the entire movie just like with the movie clips like through
Right.
I
My
just
favorite
watched the
part
movie
was
clips.
my favorite part there was when because like he beat up that group, and there was like sort of a son of a big
Okay,
shot
so who
mafia
was he going
guy.
against? Was he going against Russians as well? Were these Russians? Who was he going
It was
against?
also Russians. It was also Russians. But the thing was, he worked for the CIA. He's like sort of like they call him the auditor. So if they send him, it's bad news. So
Okay,
you don't
so
want him to be there. You don't want the auditor to
okay,
be there because he's gonna audit shit,
yeah.
and he's just
So
gonna
you have to
like
pay,
fuck
yeah.
things
So
up,
you gotta
right?
pay.
So
Yeah, he's a
so that
collector.
was his
Yeah.
yeah. So that was his job for the CIA. So the thing was when the Russian uh mobster
Mafia.
hired somebody,
Yeah.
to trace him because they didn't know who beat up everybody and who killed the son.
Yeah.
No, the brother. It wasn't the son. It was the brother. So the
Mm-hmm.
brother was like, "All right, find out who this guy is." Then they hired somebody. Then
Mm-hmm.
she had contacts inside what the Department of Defense or something, or at the
Mm-hmm.
Pentagon, and
Mm-hmm.
um she called him like, "Oh, if you're not gonna give me um files about this person, I'm gonna release your footages, like doing bondage or whatever." Like she's
Mm-hmm.
basically blackmailing the guy. So
Mm-hmm.
he was forced to give him the files, but all these files were redacted. So he got hold of the files, sent it to the lady who was like, was like doing the research, or like a hacker or something. And the next scene was like he threw the files at the mobster. It was like, "All right, here it is. I don't want anything to do with it anymore." And You don't have to pay me. You can keep the money." And he just like disappeared. Just just keep me out of it. And the guy was like, "Who the hell
Yeah,
is this guy?" Like, everything's redacted. And like, who the fuck is
yeah,
this guy? So he was like a scary dude, but it was like 10 years, or
yeah,
was it 10 years? I'm not sure, but it was like because it was 10 years ago. It was like so he's a bit rusty, but he's in the
yeah,
business. So so it,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it was pretty realistic. So
Whereas with like Born, like he had amnesia, right? Like Born kind of like forgot everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was sort of
Yeah.
battling to get his memory back
There are a
and
lot of these
try to find
movies.
out who
Like
he
remember
really was.
that movie Hannah with
I
Saoirse
love that
Ronan,
too. I
whatever. Right?
I, I don't
Yeah,
get it. Why didn't get
What's
a
that girl name?
part two?
Saoirse Ronan. That was a good movie. Hannah was
Yes,
a good movie.
yes. Forgot her. Forgot. I can't say her name.
No,
What was her name?
Saoirse
I know. I'm
Ronan or
like
something.
Hannah. Okay, Hannah. No, not the drama because they have a drama series on Prime, but it's not as good as the movie.
Oh,
The
it's the same thing though.
film.
I mean, same theme.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the same. It's the same. Yes, the same storyline. Cersei Ronan. Cersei Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
Sarse.
That's it.
Cersei Ronan. But the spelling is just like
Soarsie. I think
yeah. Holy
she's
crap.
is she Irish?
Well, I think so. I think she's Irish.
She has a really
All
strong
right.
accent. If
She
she
does.
chooses to speak that way. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay.
that was
So
a good movie.
we're gonna do another episode tomorrow, right? Because we can't do it on Saturday. Is that what it
Yeah, yeah,
is?
yeah. I have
Okay.
a hosting gig on Saturday.
All right. Can we wrap it up before? Can we wrap it up now?
Let's wrap it
Like,
up. Yeah, sure.
yeah. All right, okay. So we could do
It's
another
almost
one
2 hours,
tomorrow,
dude.
and yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow, we're what will we be talking about? We'll
Today's
cross the bridge when
Throwback
we get
Thursday.
there.
Tomorrow's like Throwback Thursday. So
We should
Friday
talk about
night.
women tomorrow. Like
Let's talk about
tomorrow's
women.
like
It's Women's Day.
Flirty
Flirty
Friday
Friday.
tomorrow.
Okay, Flirty Friday. Let's
Flirty
do a Flirty
Friday.
Friday. Let's
Yeah.
talk about
The
women.
moves. Yeah.
And yeah,
Talk about the moves. All right. Got it.
right. So anyway, like
I'm
yeah,
finishing.
2000,
Am I
2010.
late there?
I would say I miss the music a lot. Or I mean, if you ask me, it's more of my life between 2000 to 2010. That was the most, I think, interesting part of my life. That's a decade that I would, if somebody would ask me like, which decade would you want to go back to? I mean, that would be the decade that I want to go back to. Like I want to live that life
Really?
again from 2000 to 2010. Yes, I had so much fun with that. Like now, I mean, this is okay. This is nice.
This is like
I
the
have a
chill stage of
daughter,
our lives, though. We're
right?
chilling.
Yeah,
We're
but then
chilling
if
now, right?
if like excluding this, I love this part of my life too. I love this part of my life, but if we're talking about like if you could go back and relive, some moments of it,
That
when
decade.
would that be? Yeah, that decade would be because that was the time when I joined Killer Bee. And that was the time I went through a lot of stuff, hard stuff.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I held two jobs. Then I
But
met
you would
all
relive
sorts
it
of people.
exactly the same way. Like you wouldn't like
I would
not
live it
know any like
exactly the same.
okay.
No, I would
Got it,
not
got it.
change anything. Like I
Got it.
would, yeah, I would still go nuts. After the breakup, I would still have, you know, as lot as like as much fun as I had, right? I would never like, oh, if I go back in time, I would never no, I would probably still cheat. I mean, I enjoy that part. I mean, that was one of the most
Yeah.
exciting things that I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah.
it wasn't the most ideal, but it was, yeah, I mean, it was part of my
It
experience.
gave your
It's part
decade
of who
color.
who I am, right? Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all those
Experiences.
music, man. Come on, Usher. Like I was at the Brazilian store earlier this afternoon, and all of a sudden, Kelly Clarkson started playing. And I was like, "What's this song? I know this is Kelly Clarkson." So I stopped. I was in a
Since you've been
rush, but I was
gone?
like, "No, no, no, it's not since you've been gone." So I waited, even though I was in a rush. I waited for the cars and like, "Oh, it's Breakaway." I was like, "Oh, I used to play
Mm.
this, and it used to be in the daily top 10, the early return
Mm-hmm.
show." So it reminded me a lot of like, oh man, yeah, that was so that nostalgia. The nostalgia came running back, and I was just like fantasizing the whole time. It was like, oh, that time was great. Natalie going crazy. Those songs. Usher's. What was his like?
Burn. Oh yeah,
What was that song?
yeah,
What was that?
yeah. It's
What's the
yeah,
spell of that song?
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Then you have like you have slow
Confessions.
motion. Yeah, confessions as well. Just out that decade in slow motion, and I like that. Da-da-da-da.
Slow motion for
Manginasal,
me. Slow
manginasal,
motion for me.
manginasal.
Slow motion for me. I want slow.
And I like that it was like so big. Then manginasal messed it up. Manginasal, manginasal, manginasal. What the heck, manginasal? Come
Whoa,
on.
whoa,
Whoa,
whoa.
whoa. Manginasal, manginasal. They should be sued for that,
Now,
right? They can get sued for that, right?
now you
For
gotta get out
using
of your
that.
head. Now it's like the Manginasal song. You ask people here in the Philippines what Manginasal song is, like if you play that beat, they would probably say Manginasal. You wouldn't remember. I like that.
Manginasal, manginasal.
Right there. Remember right there?
Right
We
there,
drop it
right
like it's
there.
hot. Oh my
Drop it like
god,
it's
yeah.
hot.
That was the
Drop it
era.
like, dude. Yeah,
We'd
I
walk in a
mean the,
club,
the
right?
parties that we went
We
to.
walk we walk in auto shop and it's like, got what you need, tell me what you
What
need.
you
Right? It's like,
need,
oh man, okay, that
like all
lady.
all those all those ledge dancers on the bar. I'm like, holy crap, man! I mean, it's like,
those
here we go again,
those
here we go
those ladies
again.
have
Those
families
were
now,
my life. I know,
Those
I
ledge
know.
dancers have families now. They got
Like I
kids,
told you, there was even one ledge dancer who died. She had cancer, like the one you were
I didn't
teasing
know
me
about that.
with. No, Mads. You remember Mads?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember
She
her.
died, man. She died.
Is this a fact?
It's a fact.
Didn't she
She
go to the
died.
station once? I think she went to the station once.
She did. Because Billy Kane was playing Cupid with me and her. And like I went out with her like a couple of times.
I
And
remember her,
all
yeah.
of us yeah, and all of a sudden I just like heard from somebody. I think it was on Facebook or something, and found out that
Did,
she died because of cancer. She was really young. So I was like, wow. I mean, she was so young.
a
I
long time
remember her
ago?
too. This was some time ago. This was like probably
Did you
2021 right
did
now,
she
right? So
visit
this
you?
would be
Did
like
she
about
visit you?
6.
Did she visit you?
No, not really. I mean, no, no.
Isn't that her behind you right now? Okay, time to
Mads.
wrap up.
Time to wrap up now. Wrap up, wrap up. Pack up na, pack up na. Pandamay, pack up na. All right, tomorrow. Okay, lots of things to talk about because we're going to talk about women tomorrow. So, all right. Okay,
Hmm.
so yeah.
Join us tomorrow, guys.
Join
I
us tomorrow.
apologize if
All
I'm
right,
eating.
so
We had a really early dinner and now I'm super hungry. So yeah. We ate like at 5 p.m. and now it's like 10. So that's been 5 hours I haven't eaten. So I'm hungry. Anyway, this
all
one's
right,
not to
okay,
be supposed to be live anyway. We just did the live thing.
right, yeah. But tomorrow we'll be live again. So
Tomorrow's
yeah,
gonna be
hopefully,
tomorrow will be
hopefully,
the makeup show for Saturday. So
all right,
do
yeah.
join us.
So
So it's
it
8
should be
p.m.
live.
It's
Yeah.
8 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still trying to feel my knee if I could play or not because I'm supposed to have a basketball game tomorrow, so it should be around 9 p.m. there, 10 p.m. here. But we'll see if I skip
Okay.
it because I probably want to rest my knee for now. Like the left one's like
Alrighty.
really killing me. All right. Okay. So
All
guys,
right.
we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. This has been Iceman,
Rod Rodriguez.
and we are out. Good night.